Everyone, so more problems it seems. I just got into my car. The seat is wet. There's water in the car. There's water that clearly dripped in the car. And there's more water up here. Now, incidentally, I've seen this happen before. This is all wet here. When I drove it through a car wash a little while ago, there's water literally gushing through this spot here. It's usually the little pipe that allows for the water to clear. You can actually see it right here. This comes from the sunroof. There's some drain holes in the corners that actually drain the water out. When they're working correctly, that's what they should be doing. And I had the same issue on the other side, but there's actually no water on this side. It rained quite a bit this morning, so gonna have to look into this. Possibly there's a bit of water here too. Possibly the pipe is clogged, or it could actually be disconnected in there. So you can access it from there. You remove the handle, which is pretty easy. Pull it apart and you check whether the connection is actually still good. We're gonna look into this shortly. Don't want any water in the car.
2 weeks later.
This is a wet morning in my Tiguan. As you can tell, this is soaked in water. Water is coming in here. It's actually soaked all around, like all over. If I go around here, all the liner, this is all full of water. This is full of water. There's water at the bottom here. There's no water in the well, luckily. And there was a little bucket here that was collecting. You can see it's still dripping here. So we have a leak somewhere. I'm gonna have to look into this at some point, probably remove the pillar. I'm gonna grab a towel for now and wipe it up. Yeah, this is all wet. Wet, all of this area. All of that. This is all wet. So there's probably something disconnected. Behind of this, there is the drain from the sunroof that runs in the pillar all the way down. It could be plugged or it could be disconnected altogether. I'll have to look into this shortly. One more project.
1 week later.
So I'm not done with the headliner just yet, but regarding the drains, common problem is this. See right here? So there was water in the back of my car, and sure enough, this is coming from the drain. It's probably plugged. It overflows and then it just drips inside the car. You can follow the hose here, or the pipe. You can see there's more water here, and it was all over my tools all the way down here. So that's what happens. I'm gonna have to continue working on this. So more information to come. I just saw a drop here too. There might be water coming down on that side too, actually. Anywho, yeah, common issues. 4 drains. You see 2 over there at the front, and the one in the back here. So more to come.
1 week later.
Alright guys, as I'm continuing to investigate the drain situation, since I'm working on the sunroof, I unplugged that drain, and if you're kind of disgusting as I am, you can actually blow in there and see what happens. You should, in theory, get some air flowing through the tube, and that will ensure that the drain is free of any blockage, so that when it rains, the water can flow freely. Well, as it turns out, I actually did that for that drain up there, and I can't blow anything in there. It's completely plugged. So that's the reason why it was overflowing, and I was constantly getting some water in the car when I would go to the car wash. Now for that guy, I actually blew on that one and blew into the tube, and I saw a plume of smoke coming from the top of the dashboard in this area. So, well, I figured there was something there going on. So you can remove this section here, right? There's a piece of plastic, it's just clipped. I have 3 clips on it, and you just pull on it, and it's kind of held by the seal here, so it's pretty easy to remove. And in there, you're gonna get access to this section. You can follow the tube and check this out. The tube is basically sitting outside of the connector. So fundamentally, the water was pouring into the car, and that's the reason why the car is constantly humid It's still humid today, and I actually had water accumulating at the bottom. This is a common area, by the way, where you see water accumulating. This is all wet right now still, so it's under the seat. Pardon the can. It's actually still humid here, and chances are there's still, oh yeah, still water there. There's a connector under there, and you have it's all wet. I mean, this whole thing is wet. This is completely wet, all of that. And there is a connector actually for the seat that goes under. So when you pull this out, yeah, I can feel it. Look at that. My fingers are all wet. I need to completely take this apart again, since I've done that in the past, and make sure the car actually can get some fresh air. But fundamentally, this is exactly what happened here. So I'm gonna put it back there, which is very easy when you have this access. You just rearrange that. I'm not sure why the tube is not locking into position, however, that's a problem. So, and this is not really holding into there. So it's gonna take a little bit more time, I think, to fix adequately. And what happens, so see now it's sitting back into the to the coupler, but I don't know whether conduit is free of any blockage further down, right? So that's one thing I need to check, and I might need my air compressor or run a little piece of wire or something in there in order to make sure it's free. So I need to do more testing there, and I also need to ensure that the hose, so the white hose here, does not come out of the coupler again. So I need to secure this into position somehow. So I thought I would point that out because my car has been wet for weeks now, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, now I know. So I'll take care of making sure it's all nice and dry, and also while addressing this hosing issue. So I thought I would point that out. Fun times. All right, continuing with troubleshooting this area. So what I did is I run a wire, a metal wire, down the drain, and sure enough, obviously it's so now it's kind of somewhat plugged, but this boot, this rubber boot, the pipe, the little hose, actually the hose should insert probably about ½ an inch in there, and right now it's nowhere close to this, obviously, but I'm gonna try to push it back in. Not unusual for this problem to occur, especially if you are dealing with the upper part. You pull on it, next thing happens, it just kind of disconnects from the coupler down there, and you end up having water in your car. So the metal wire that I've run comes out here. So I'm under the engine bay here, or the windshield trim, and it comes out here, and then it goes down the drain. So that makes a lot of sense. The hose doesn't actually go down all the way behind the fender or anywhere like that. It goes in this area. On the other side, I need to figure out why it's blocked, but chances are it could be a similar issue. I thought I would point that out in terms of testing whether your hose is actually free of debris or anything like that. Use a little piece of metal wire. Now I'm gonna try to reconnect both of them down there in this section. There's really not a lot of space to work with, but I'm gonna try to reinsert it somehow in there. So since I was working on the drains, I figured I would pop open this side, which I actually never did on this car. And would you look at that? This is a tracking system which is connected somewhere, and I had no idea it was even there. Now it does also explain perhaps why I had some battery drainage problems, because this thing is hot, so it's obviously drawing some amps, or milliamps perhaps, but this is here. I had no idea. So now this is not what I was looking for, obviously, but we have the hose up there, so I'm gonna try to show you what that looks like. Okay, so my wire went through it, and I had a small drop of water also coming out, which seems to indicate that well, there was flow, but really what's going on here is that this is still not free, really. So I want to blow in it, see what happens. It's gonna be really hard to deal with my two hands busy. I'm trying to do this with my foot, because chances are some stuff is gonna come out of there. So I'll see if I can do this without messing up my car too much. Use this as a diverter. There we go. So let's see what happens when I blow in that thing. Didn't see anything, but it's certainly free now. Certainly not as free as I would like it to be though. Feels like the tube is pinched somewhere. So I'm just gonna run my wire back and forth a few times and see what happens. Alright, so I've run my wire up and down many times. I actually even give it a bit of a shape at the very end that would look like a bit of a claw, so to speak, right? So that way I know I'm kind of clearing the tube, and seems to be flowing just fine. So I think the problem could be with something else, potentially with the other side, like the coupler that's in there, that sits in the opening. So what the tube actually goes in, that could very well be the problem. Gonna have to test it a little bit further and see whether my little wire actually runs down that coupler or not. So I'm gonna try that now and see what happens. Ideally, I want to run the wire all the way through to the engine bay, so that I can make sure that the water actually flows freely the way it should. Okay, so I disconnected the tracker to make a little bit of space, and I also did something that I hope I don't regret, is pulling on this coupler at the bottom. Why? Because I wasn't able to plug the pipe back in. So as you can see, it's inserted here. There's a bit of an opening at the bottom, which really gets filled with shit, and honestly I might actually just open this up a little bit, because clearly the dirt doesn't quite clear this section. So I might use a pair of scissors and just open this up a little bit. As a matter of fact, I might actually do the same thing on the other side, because now that I think about it, this is a problem that might happen again. Not unusual for dirt and dust to accumulate through the sunroof drains. So having a bit of clearance here so that the water and the debris can actually flow freely, it's probably not a bad idea. So I'm gonna cut the tip of that and then reinsert it. You can see there is a little slit right here, right? That's where the metal inserts. So I might have to squeeze my head in there and pull from the bottom of the engine bay in order to put it back in position. But I think it was worth it, because I'll be able to reinsert the hose back in there correctly now. Possibly even put a bit of tape around it and see if I can secure it in place. Anywho, let's keep going. Alright, so I've trimmed the end of it. See, now it's fully open, which is exactly what you want. It's a poor design, in my opinion, from the manufacturer to have actually make it so close so that no debris can flow through. So I use a pair of scissors and you just trim the very tip of this. And now I can really, like, you see how deep this should go? Actually, there was still some crap in there. Just realized that, because now it's, see this? Like, there's still some dirt there. So that means that this hasn't been connected in quite a while, but that gives you a sense of how much should be inserted in there, right? See? It goes in probably about an inch. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side now, because it's hard to do with one hand, but there you go. See, like, I'm on the way in, all the way in here. That's what it looks like. So all the way to the marking, right? I'm gonna put a piece of electric tape around this, make sure it doesn't move anymore, and then I'm gonna try to reinsert it into its location, which is all the way back there. But I have access to the outside. In fact, this section here is not too hard to remove, but it goes under there, right? So if you run your hand, you will fill a hole that sits at the top, the top of the opening, and this is where you should be kind of pulling the bit through. Might need help actually for this. I'll see if my wife can help me with this, but we'll see. Let's keep going. All right, so showing you every step of the way. I did a nice few turns here to hold the coupler to the hose. Note that when you push the coupler in, you will be able to push it even further in, you don't want that, right? Because you still need enough length to connect the nipple up here, right? So keep that in mind if you do this. In my case here, you see it goes all the way up here, so about half an inch, maybe 5/8, and that's sufficient in this case. What you want to make sure is that the whole thing holds together. So with this, I'm sure the water is going to drain all the way, and this is now free, so I'm going to run it back into where it's supposed to go. All right, so the hose is now reattached, and it's now fully connected, so we're all good to go. This is looking beautiful. I can try to show you what it looks like on the other side, although it might not zoom in, I'd rather tell you. But this is where it comes out of. That would be up here. There we are. And you can see the seal is fully sealing. It's doing its job, right? The little seal I showed you earlier, the little lip goes around, and you just have to pull from this side towards the inside of the engine bay. Twist it around a few times, and the rubber will just nicely wrap around the bottom, so you'll be fine. I'm gonna do the other side again and see what happens. You should be okay. All right, now back on the other side. I just pulled on this, came out right away, of course. This was actually quite nicely inserted the way I put it in, but look at the end here. It's all full of crap. See all the dust comes out of it? And this is, I really don't get it. Like, I don't understand why. They probably wanted to prevent like spiders or insects from going back up. And that's the only reason I can think of, really. So the way I actually fixed that was to use a pair of these shears. They actually do really well. I'm gonna try to film while I do it. But fundamentally, it's pretty straightforward. Grab the tip of it, cut just a tiny bit. There you go. And that's it. Just now have a nice opening for the water to flow. So pretty simple. I'm gonna do the exact same thing as the other side. Do a few wraps, a few rounds of electrical tape. You can use hockey tape. You can probably, I suspect, even use some silicone if you really wanted to make it waterproof. I don't think I need to do this now. It's pretty easy to access in case I need to do it again. And then I'm gonna pull the rug again under there so that the whole area can dry out, because right now it's super wet. And I didn't realize how wet it was until tonight, really. But with the rubber mat on it, it's certainly not helping dissipate the humidity. So anyways, so that's the next step. I'm gonna do this before the sun goes down and I can't see anything. So one last note as I'm pulling out the mat here. It's just really irritates me because everything was dry last time and now it's all fundamentally full of water. Alright, so I ended up reverting to my good old vacuum cleaner. So I pulled the rug, put something under there, under the insulation material, so that the air could get around it. It's gonna take some time, but that's what I was able to remove so far. So it's, can't quite tell, but it's quite a bit. But I was in the car. Not great, obviously. There's still some in there, but it took out quite a bit already. So it's a good start. I'll continue, and we have some warm weather around the area for the next few days, so that's gonna help dry it out. All right, so continuing to work on the drains. We're gonna apply, so I checked that the lines were clear, and they are. So what we're gonna do now is apply some silicone on the bibs. So I'll show you what that is. But fundamentally, we want to seal, not permanently, but pretty much permanently, that little bib here, right? So when this actually connects to there, we don't want any water to seep out of this. And to do this, the easiest way, based on all my research and some logic, is to apply some silicone. So what I'm gonna do, I just bought this silicone here. Make sure you grab a napkin or a piece of like a rag or something, because this gets messy really quickly. And we're just gonna apply some silicone here and a little bit on the inside, and I'll explain why. Whoop. Really don't want this to fall on your seat either. Okay, so there we go. So we've applied a little bit on there. The purpose of this is to kind of rub it on the inside and make sure that we have a proper adherence, because we want this to stick obviously, but you don't want this to plug the hose either, right? So ideally you want to go around just like that. Okay, then you insert your bib. There we go, and then you just smooth it out. It doesn't take much really, but this is going to make a difference in my opinion. And make sure you go around, including on the top, which tends to be overlooked, but it shouldn't really overflow at the end, but you never know. And there you go, this is done. That's one. So I'm not going to film all of them, but fundamentally it's the same principle on all of them. The front is what I'm most interested in because I know it's leaking on the front. The back was pretty good. I blew in the tubes and everything was clear, so it seems to be okay. I'm going to do the other ones before I run out of light, but I thought I would show you how I did this. I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.